Hey bros, I'm a dating and fitness coach.
Hello, top tier financial advisor here. Would you like to get rich with crypto? How about generating 2 passive incomes? I can show you how. Bonjour YouTube, welcome back to California, West Africa. So I wanted to make a short video here. I don't know if it's gonna be short, but I'm just gonna talk off the cuff. The power just went out. It's 10 minutes after 3 p.m. It's 84 degrees. Every day it's like 84 degrees. So I'm gonna take Rex out. Just to get out of the house for a minute. So this brings me to what I want to talk about today. There are 3 phases to becoming an expat. So the first phase is the honeymoon phase. Now a lot of YouTubers aren't going to talk about this. There's a few. I've seen a few. Here's the funny thing about me. Everything I've learned firsthand, and I learned the hard way. So there's not been a lot of things I've learned off of YouTube. In fact, most of the things I've done, I've just learned through trial and error. And the funny thing is that YouTube is a place you can go and learn stuff, right? So we all have this access to YouTube, but I never really used YouTube to learn anything, especially about relationship advice, because I never fit into any of those categories that men are in who seek advice. You know, I never was a guy that never got any female attention, but I was never a Chad or, you know, a super giga Chad or rich. You know, there's guys, you know, I watched a video the other day about Dolph Lundgren, and they were talking about how Dolph Lundgren was one of those guys that was as close to a 10 as you can possibly get. So he's one of those guys but he did a lot of work. Not only was he born gifted, but he also utilized all his gifts and you know, MIT, dated beautiful women, had a great career. He's an old man now, but he's basically, but people that look like that, they have life on easy mode. So some of the other videos I've done, you know, I try to be humble. Obviously I'm not rich or a giga Chad, and obviously I'm not a beta Bob or, you know, someone that's never gotten attention from women or had, you know, I've always, you know, good or bad, I've always had female attention. So that can get you into a lot of trouble. So I think in my younger years, maybe I was always like a 6. I don't want to be too humble and say I'm a 5. I tried saying, okay, I'm just an average guy. I feel like an average guy. A lot of people are not going to resonate with things I say, or they're not really reaching men that are really willing to go and travel. So anyway, I want to touch on the 3 phases of being an expat, because I think a lot of channels aren't talking about this. A few, but not many, talking about expats and going overseas, you know, because we have all these influencers that are going to the Philippines, Vietnam, and all these other places, and they're really glamorizing it. And the problem with that is they highlight on all the good things. Oh, you can live for less than $1,000. Oh, you can sit on the beach and drink Mai Tais. There's no shortage of videos, of success videos, where guys have figured it out. And I'm pretty sure they didn't get all their success and stuff from looking at YouTube videos, okay?
What?
The lizard poop.
The lizard pooped on you?
Oh, good. I thought it's your water, but
It's a Philippines gecko. He's lived here longer than us.
yeah.
Okay. Hey everyone, it's me again. If you're new to the channel, my name is Corey. My wife's name is Raquel. She is a little camera shy, just to give you a heads up now. Some people have said she should talk more, and I'm like, yeah, I try when she can stop giggling. So we do a lot of retakes and a lot of bloopers, which I could make a whole video on.
Most of the guys that have figured it out are guys like me that just went out and just did it. But the trap that people are falling into is that they think they can go do it as old men. Okay, and maybe I'm biased because I'm 55, so I know that I'm not extremely old, but I'm an old man. Let's be honest. 55 years old. I'm a senior citizen. I'm a senior goddamn citizen, which is so weird to me because I feel 30. So anyway, it doesn't matter. But the reality is, I'm an old man. So I can no longer say, it's really difficult for me to judge I know where I sit in the looks department, in the finances department, and for what I'm working with, my looks, age, and income, it makes it very difficult in the States to date or live. So really the only option is to move overseas. But I wholeheartedly do not encourage men who have health problems that are over the age of, say, 60, 65. And now, if you're 60 or 65 and you're in good health and you make a decent amount of money, okay, sure, go overseas, fine. But if you're 60 or 65 and you're broke, now I'm going to classify broke as anyone making under $2,000. If you're making under $2,000 a month, you're broke. And when I say broke, it means you don't have the freedom to just move overseas as an older man and expect to have this amazing life. And all the countries that people want to go to are along the equator. And what are all the countries that are, I don't want to say all, but most, probably 99%, go look at a map. All the countries that people want to go to are along the equator that have beautiful weather like I have right now. Every day, every single day, with few exceptions, 80 to 85 degrees. People talk about the humidity here, it's not that bad. Like right now, I'm not sweating. It's beautiful out here. It's dry. There are some humid days, but I'm near the coast. I'm in Bingerville, Cote d'Ivoire, which is outside of Abidjan. So let me talk. Now, I had a script for this, but let's just talk about the first phase. And I'll show you a little bit of video and pictures of me as I'm talking. So the first year. Now, my income is such that I'm not broke, but nearing the 50-year mark, and I moved to Cote d'Ivoire. The first year was a honeymoon phase. I also want to discuss some dating in there, but basically that first year was a honeymoon phase. I didn't mind, the infrastructure was bad. I had enough money to where I could, rent. Matter of fact, I even rented 2 apartments. For 2 apartments over here is what I was paying for a room in the US. And I'll get into why I did that earlier, or a little bit later in the video. So during that time, now I didn't look at any videos on how to do this. I just instinctually did it. So maybe, I'm a slow learner, but I have figured some things out on my own because I've had to. I just never thought to look at YouTube and get some advice. So what I did was I dated for the first year. I dated a couple women. Now I won't go into details because it might hurt some people's feelings that watch my videos, so I don't want to say too much of the details of my life and my personal life. But basically I was doing what came naturally, and that was slow to higher. In other words, I was at that point, I'm looking at a relationship almost like a business deal.
It's your job, men, to resist the urge to emotionally invest in a given woman prematurely. And to that end, you're going to want to slow down the hiring process as much as possible. There are several really good reasons for this. Among them is the reality that when it comes to women, you can always escalate, but you can never de-escalate. What does that mean? Well, let's take something simple like frequency of contact. When I first get involved with a woman, I'll let about a week go by from the previous interaction before I contact her again.
Okay, so basically that's what I was doing. But let me just put a caveat here. The advice that Dr. Orion Terabin is giving on his channel, Psychax, this is for American women. This is if you're dating within the USA. When you come to, say, Cote d'Ivoire or Philippines, Thailand, when you're meeting women who are financially, the people are poor here. It doesn't matter if you go to Philippines or Cote d'Ivoire, you're going to be dating poor women. You don't have the luxury of taking it that slow where I'm going to wait a week before I call her. Listen, I'm over here on a 90-day visa. I ain't got time to be waiting a week before I contact her again. So, but the overall advice is giving super sound. You definitely want to hire slow. The problem with guys, we want to jump in. So when you go overseas, there is a whole, it's not a completely set of rules or guidelines to go by, but it's generally, you know, hire slow, fire fast. That's a good advice, but you have to tweak those things while you're here when your boots are on the ground. And that's where the nuances come in. You can't just, this is why general dating advice either helps no one or helps, you know, it either helps everybody or helps no one. I don't know. I'm very torn when it comes to dating advice. And listen, I love that channel, Psych Hacks. Obviously a solid channel, but everything has to be taken with a grain of salt. It has to change on the ground. It has to change with the circumstances. So if you're over here and you're going to meet, so for instance, if I would have come over here and said, okay, I'm just going to call her for like a week, you have to do other things. That's why I went and I rented 2 different apartments. I was having, anyway, I don't want to go into too many details, but that's basically what I did. You have to change up to fit what your circumstances are. Because I was slowly hiring, I wanted to sit back. I wanted to make sure that she was going to have all the qualities I wanted in a woman. I already found all the women that didn't have the qualities I wanted. And even with all my knowledge, and you know, I'm not an expert, okay? I don't want to come on here and tell you, you know, I work out. I don't have a 6-pack. I'm physically okay. You know, I'm not fat. I do have some muscle mass. I'm fairly decent shape. I'm in reasonable shape. So I'm not a fitness expert, not a dating expert. I've made so many mistakes. So I don't want to come on here and talk from anything from authority. I'm just sharing my personal, what's been working for me, has just undoubtedly followed like Dr. Orion Taraban. Psych Hacks, if you've ever watched his show, he talks about hiring slow, firing fast. And that's what I did for 7 years. 7 years I traveled from Trinidad to Africa to, well, in earlier years I was in Europe, I was in Italy. But just in the last 7 years, dating multiple women, going to multiple countries, I was unknowingly following the pattern of hiring slow. And it saved me. Like, I will tell you that I got sort of scammed. Actually, I've never been scammed. Matter of fact, the last time I got scammed, if you want to talk about a real scam, in the back of Muscle and Fitness, there was this camera. Remember those advertisements say, oh, this camera does this and this, and I ordered, you know, I was 23 years old. I ordered the camera. It was a piece of shit, plastic, fake, didn't even take pictures. Okay, so we all have fallen to some type of scam in the past. Have I been duped by a lot of women? No, not really. I did have some trouble in Nigeria. I did describe that as a disaster. But the woman, there was some of that was my fault, but I knew there was risks. And just like Orion Taraban will tell you, relationships are a crapshoot. No matter what, I don't care how much knowledge you have. I don't care if you're a dating coach. I don't care if you're a Chad. Listen, even Tom Brady can't keep a woman. Rex! So there is no one side. This is the problem with being a dad, having a dog, living in Africa, going on. I don't have any time to myself all the time to really make these videos and just be, but this way, get over here. All right, we're gonna go this way, huh? So, where was I at? Basically, I never really got thoroughly scammed. I know a lot of people have made comments on my channel. A lot of people give me sound advice on this channel. I really appreciate the comments and the feedback I get in the comments, and I really appreciate all the advice. But I also get a lot of crazy people on my fucking channel. Oh, people call me racist. People telling me, or you know, laughing at my misery. You know, because when you that's the risk you take when you get on YouTube and you start telling your personal story. People start assuming that you're in a bad place. They want to give you advice. They want to laugh at you. Oh, you're stupid for doing this, or you're dumb for. So I get I have a lot of nice viewers. Probably most of my nice viewers and people that are watching my channel that wish me well. And I do get a lot of positive comments, but sometimes I get just crazy YouTube people. I don't get it. But that's just the risk you take when you're on YouTube. So basically, I've never really had any real, I've had some real tragedies happen in my life, but those are all in the past. I mean, right now life is pretty good. Matter of fact, life is so good, it's a little boring. Like, that's why I don't have a lot of drama to talk about. I have to talk about these past things. But let me get back to the phases. So, being an expat, the first phase you go through, and I went through it too, was the honeymoon phase. I was dating multiple women. I was living in a country that had a weekend, here in Cote d'Ivoire. And I didn't mind all those things. Those things didn't bother me. I didn't have any fast food. Of course, I was eating out all the time. And there was a Pizza Hut here, Kentucky Fried Chicken, there's a Burger King. Okay, I had a little touch of American things. And you probably have that in the Philippines too. You do have little oases, places where you get a little touch of America that you're used to. Then the second year came. Honeymoon phase over. I decided on Michelle. I hired her slow. Great woman. And I consciously picked an educated woman who was, not so young. She was 34. And then I was able to, she had maturity, but she wasn't old either. And she wasn't young. So I kind of picked the middle ground. And so far, everything's been working out pretty good. Now, but during that second year, I started getting real homesick. I miss roads. I miss not speaking English. Pizza Hut closed down here. Couldn't get pizza that I liked. I started running into I had a few health problems and dental problems that I just didn't feel comfortable with taking care of here, and really, quite frankly, couldn't afford. And since I needed a break, I mustered all my money, went into a little bit of debt too, and flew back to the United States. Twice I flew back. Got some health care, saw some family and friends, recharged a little bit, but also it was a reminder that it was so expensive there. Things weren't, it didn't feel like home anymore. I'm from Sacramento, California. All my family has moved out. My friends have all moved away, and it just wasn't home for me anymore. And so it gave me a reset. And so I came back to Cote d'Ivoire. Now here I am on my third year. Had a baby. Let me tell you, my first commitment was I found Rex. Somebody owned him apparently in this apartment complex, but for all intents and purposes, he was a street dog. He was starving. He was tick-riddled, disease-riddled, bad shape. Rex was in bad shape, but he was a young dog. And I took him in, and I made a commitment to him, almost like part of we Americans we look at pets as our family. Rex is my family. Rex, come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. So that was my first commitment after Michelle. Then I got a cat. Then I found a cat. So unknowingly, what I was doing is I was growing roots. And of course, when Bella came, that was it. Now my roots are firmly here. So I am completely committed to Cote d'Ivoire. Come hell, high water, rain or shine, power, no power, scam or no scam, I'm now rooted in Cote d'Ivoire. I'm not leaving. Of course, they could kick me out. I could, all kinds of things could happen. There could be political unrest. Who knows? But the good news is Bella is now a U.S. citizen. So now I'll be getting her passport. So then that next time, if something were to happen, through the embassy, I could make an escape. I'm not married to Michelle, so maybe I can't take her with me. But she's lived in this country all her life. They've been through it. They know how to survive here if something were to go haywire. But Cote d'Ivoire is one of those countries where it's fairly stable. They did have some terrorist activity back here in 2011, but that, I don't know if you'll look at the Bassam, some terrorists killed some people on a beach. I don't know the full story. I remember reading it, but and there is some instability here. But so it's probably not as stable as the Philippines, but as far as African country goes, it's pretty stable. Correct. So that I got through the 3 phases. So now I'm in the phase of where I'm established. I don't own a home yet. I don't own any property here, but I have a baby. The visa process is very, very easy. A lot of people don't consider coming here. I don't want to encourage anyone necessarily to come here, but I do think I still hold to that. I think it's a better choice than the Philippines. I just know that maybe African women are not for everybody. I mean, obviously, listen, as far as infrastructure, things, how you can operate here, the bureaucracy, the politics, the weak infrastructure, the developing country feel. If you took the people out, this is the Philippines, this is Thailand. You got less vegetation, you got dry climate, rainy climate. It's an equator country, so there really is no difference. So it's gonna boil down to your tastes. If you like African women, if I personally, this is the conundrum I was in the States. I like black women, don't like them in America. Like, I just don't. I do. Physically, yes, love black women. I love even the fake hair, all that stuff. I don't care. They're attractive to me. But not in the States. Not their attitude. Not all. Oh, not all. We gotta say not all. Because, I already know, I can already look at the comments, right? You don't know all black women. You don't know, you stop talking bad about black women. Shut up. Shut the I'm so tired of hearing that. I have a preference. Listen, I love black people, just not in America. Here in Africa, love them. It's like night and day. I don't care if, now listen, I don't want to get into all the sub-Saharan Somalia. Right now, Africa is getting a bad rap. Oh, they're low IQ and they're this and that and they're dirty. That's not true. That's not true for everybody, right? I mean, yes, there is some blanket what they're telling you is truth. Unfortunately, a lot of fraud, a lot of scams, just like in most countries, corruption, all that stuff. All that stuff is true. But that's another thing I did naturally. I picked a woman. Thank you, God. I picked a woman that was educated. So I don't know what her IQ is, but she went to veterinarian school, got her doctorate, and also learned Russian at the same time. I've said this in the other videos, but I don't know. I just respect the hell out of that so much. So obviously the woman I'm with is not a low IQ person. I don't think a low IQ person, if you got a 70 or 80 IQ, you're not going to college, getting your doctorate, and also learning the Russian language at the same time. I don't need to give her an IQ test. I already know she's good. I know I'm not a dumb person. On my ASVAB for the military, way back, I didn't score super high, but I scored a 113 GT score. So I'm not dumb. And I'm a high school dropout. I only went to 9th grade. And even with just going to 9th grade, I scored a 113. So as far as brains, I'm not a genius. I probably don't have 160 IQ, but I'm probably somewhere, at least 100. I'm sure. So, bonjour. So I'm not really concerned about the choices I made. In fact, I'm pretty happy with the choices I made. So anyway, that's the video. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you on the next one.